to counter falsehoods. And then CID grills ISO Deputy Director General Tabana Mean over fraud. Furthermore, in sports, no special UNEB exams for the under 17 and 20 footballers. All these in our news tonight. Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube under the name tag UBC TV Uganda. We now give you the news in detail. Now, Parliament has vetted the Bank of Uganda Governor Emmanuel Mutebire and IGP Okoth Ochola, who were reappointed by President upon the expiry of their terms of office. The committee is slated to make recommendations to the appointing authority, and these are the details.
The Inspector General of Police Okoth Ochola and Bank of Uganda Governor Tumusime Mutebire have appeared before the Appointments Committee of Parliament. The two whose terms of office expired were renewed by the head of state, and it is a constitutional mandate for Parliament to check the ability of the appointees to serve Uganda.
He appeared before us, he answered our questions very well, and you will hear from the appointing authority.
The session was exclusive to journalists who were as well not able to witness the arrival and exit of Bank of Uganda Governor from the Parliament premises.
Because he came, I didn't know the door was used, but he came, but he came and reached the committee.
Legislators who sit on the committee are convinced that Ochola and Mutebire are capable of taking on the roles.
Of course we considered him, and I've said, as far as we are concerned, his brains are perfect.
Because almost every economic question you could ask him regarding to his position as governor, he answered it very well, and he could even ask us if we had more questions to ask him, and of which we didn't have.
Legislators confirmed that the IGP was asked about the violation of human rights, and he was able to respond.
But the reason is trying to clean the image of police. If some person who hates an institution like police feels sorry for actions done by his institution, then there is nothing much you can do to him.
No. That was not part of the consideration of the committee. We looked at his track record in the last 3 years, and I think the achievements he has registered.
Upon leaving the closed-door engagement, IGP Ochola declined to talk to the press, but tipped that the session was smooth.
Fantastic. It was what? Fantastic.
The session was chaired by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News at Parliament.
Well, congratulations to the statement. In other news, government is in the process of setting up a permanent fact-checking segment to counter wrong information that may be circulated by the media. Now, this has been disclosed by the Minister of Information and National Guidance, Judith Nabakova, at the 2024 Media Challenge in Kampala.
Over 20 journalists have attained hands-on training from the Media Challenge initiative in Kampala with a call of reporting facts while on duty. Officiating over the ceremony was the Minister of Information and National Guidance, Judith Nabakova, who appreciated the innovators of the Media Challenge initiative.
A lot of our people do not have enough information on how to access public resources. This is because today's media, led by new media technologies, are focusing on issues that do not directly benefit the public. Majority of the young people and those in the countryside need guidance and information on how they can access financial resources to start businesses. Farmers are looking for information on how to improve their farming, how to access proper seeds, and where to sell probably their harvest.
Nabakova says the graduates must utilize the skills acquired and focus on stories that uplift the public financially. She urged graduates to use the media to restore hope and encouragement to the population.
We have to be champions of fact-checking by countering all the fake news in whatever form it may appear. I also believe that very soon we shall request all media houses as well as the online publishers to have a permanent fact-checking segment in all their news bulletins and probably their talk shows. This is because the innocent consumers of the content which is false, sometimes they are misled because they believe in what is being aired or what is being written. So they end up getting wrong information, wrong direction.
A media hub was also launched to ensure that people with different skills in media are brought together for a common cause.
Where we see things, and you are going to teach many people how to communicate, how to use the online space, and how to bring out, facts properly. We need to see another angle of reporting, investigative journalism, whereby even we see detailed reports.
The Chief Executive Officer, Media Challenge Initiative, Mpindi Abbas, says the hub is fully equipped with the best studios.
To be an innovation space that attracts disruptive ideas that can offer solutions to challenges facing journalism. So things to do with business models, new ways of storytelling, a whole range of challenges that we face today. So the space will attract journalists like you. If you have a deadline and you want to work on something quickly, you can come and we talk about a small rate where you can either pay a sustainability fee of 20,000.
Media Challenge Initiative aims at enabling innovation and entrepreneurship for an effective, impactful journalism. Sudat Kai, UBC.
And in other news, the National Resistance Movement Vice Chairperson for Western Uganda, Dr. Chris Baryomonsi, has laughed off plans by the National Unity Platform to hold countrywide protests. Now, this comes a few days after residents of Mbale warned Manyinja County MP John Baptist Nambeshe against rallying area youth behind holding illegal assemblies. Now, Baryomonsi, who is also State Minister for Housing, wants Robert Kyagulanyi to accept defeat and let the country move, describing the planned demonstrations as daydreaming.
We do not want the RDCs to participate again.
Dissatisfied with the outcome of the January 14th presidential elections, National Unity Platform Party opted to petition court. A few weeks after presenting their position, the case was withdrawn from the Supreme Court of Uganda. Moments later, the party president, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, made this pronouncement.
Our strategy is non-violent and it is lawful.
Attempting to sell the idea to the residents of Mbale in eastern Uganda was Manjia County Member of Parliament, John Baptist Nambeshe. He met this kind of response.
I undertake to resist all the activities of burning the city. You better organize, go and burn where you come from.
We kindly request you not to disturb youths in Mbale city or anywhere else.
They cannot intimidate Nambeshe that I'm meddling in their politics. When they own or enjoy monopoly over the politics of Mbale, when we are all enjoying residence in that Mbale.
Political meddling or not, countrywide demonstrations or otherwise, one fact remains clear, that elections in Uganda are now a thing of the past. This is why Dr. Chris Baryomonsi wants Ugandans to keep away from any protests.
For him to now start inciting Ugandans and mobilize them to demonstrate, I don't think Ugandans are foolish. People have come out of elections. They have overwhelmingly voted Yoweri Museveni as the president. Yes, Kyagulanyi got some votes, but they were not enough. They have been locked down. The businesses are suffering. People are trying to regain their businesses and get back on their feet. And for you to call for demonstrations and riots, first of all, I thank Ugandans. They have not heeded to his call, even those who belong to NUP.
Whereas he expresses a bit of worry in hooligans disturbing peace, he is quick to note that lawbreakers will be dealt with.
You see, when you join politics and elected politics, when you offer yourself for elections, then you should expect two possible outcomes, that you either win or you lose. All of you cannot win for the same position. So the Honorable Kyagulanyi, yes, he gave it a good shot, but he should appreciate and accept that his votes were not enough to have him declared the president of Uganda.
Describing Kyagulanyi's move as an act of daydreaming, Baryomusi has a word of advice for the president of National Unity Platform.
Let him now do mobilization for strengthening his party in preparation for 2026. Because the public court which he's talking about, the public court gave its verdict on January 14th, when all of us woke up early and cast our votes. The votes were counted and he didn't win, full stop.
In the recently held presidential elections, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, also known as Bobi Wine, came second after losing to incumbent Yoweri Museveni. Discontented with the results, he sought court redress, but later withdrew the case. Henry Okurut, UBC.
Now, detectives at the Criminal Investigations Directorate in Kampala are said to be interrogating the Deputy Director of the Internal Security Organization, Major General Taban Idi Amin, over fraud. Now, Taban is alleged to have participated in fraud that saw some American nationals lose up to $8 million. General Taban, a son to the former President Idi Amin, was in October last year appointed ISO Director, Deputy Director rather, by the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
This case has been on for a while, and we've taken some people to court. You must have heard, and I believe you covered this incident, where Ewan Katwes Enoch and others were charged to court with the offense of money laundering. Now, during the course of the investigation of the other previous case, we were able to learn that in 2019, some two gentlemen, Americans by origin, had transacted business of gold in West Africa, particularly in Cameroon. They had bought gold worth 5 million, and they left the remaining part with the gold dealers to ship it or take it to their home country in Canada. Indeed, this consignment traveled from Cameroon via Nairobi, Dubai to Canada. But the unfortunate bit of it is that when this consignment reached Canada and was opened by the consignees, they were shocked to find out that the consignment had aluminium bars instead of gold. Of course, it was a shock to them, considering the kind of money they had put in it. And during the course of the shock, a week after, they alleged that they received a phone call from Uganda. The caller identified himself as Idi Taban Amin, and that he identified himself as the head of intelligence services in Uganda. They contend that they Googled and indeed found out that Idi Amin Taban is within the security services of Uganda. Of course, they allege that he told them that their gold that was from Cameroon was intercepted from Uganda, and that the people who were taking it didn't have genuine documents. So he gave them an ultimatum of 2 weeks to come and sort it out and take their gold, or else they will lose it. We have him here. Of course, we are still processing him. We have finished interrogating him. He's recording a statement. and then we shall take a decision on whether we can give him either a police bond, or but if we realize that his release may jeopardize the remaining inquiries, then inevitably we may detain him until Monday, when we hope the matter will be completed.
Police arrests those that are impersonating State House staff. All these and more news to come in our bulletin. Let's take a short break. When we return, we'll come back with these stories.
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm going to pay URA visit.
But you can access URA online. Why pay a visit?
To know more about the Kakasa business solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program, and electronic fiscal receipting and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Wait.
No one should stop you from finishing what's yours. That's why MTN gives you data bundles that don't expire. Load MTN Freedom Bundles using My MTN app and enjoy the freedom to finish your data bundles.
MTN.
A good school doesn't tolerate violence against children.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Sigala nga wuyinze ku network ya 4G esingira ddala mu Uganda obudde bwonna woli ng'okozesa Airtel 4G Pocket MiFi ku shillings emitwalo 12 mu enkumi 3 ejjirako GB 15 ez'obwereere okumala omwezi mulamba osobola n'okuyungako bannabalala 10 omulundi gumu nyiga *755 *9# okufuna GB 15 ez'obwereere awo nno olyoka owangalira ku internet Charlie edduuka lya Airtel lyonna erikuli okumpi ogyefunire leero. Airtel, the smartphone network erungamizibwa Uganda Communications Commission.
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action. And it never tasted this good.
We can't tolerate sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment is unacceptable in our school.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. Now in more news, Kawempe Referral Hospital has received a donation of hospital equipment worth 144 million shillings from Stanbic Bank in partnership with ATC. Now, this is geared at reducing the high number of maternal and child deaths at the hospital records. According to the annual health sector performance report of 2019-2020, Kawempe Referral Hospital records the highest number of maternal deaths out of all the country's hospitals. And these are the details.
Even with the significant changes made towards maternal health care in Uganda, the numbers of maternal deaths are still devastating. In the recent years, Kawempe Referral Hospital has been grappling with high patient numbers and mortality deaths as it delivers over 100 babies per day and oversees about 1,000 mothers weekly.
Medicines and supplies. If the numbers are overwhelming, you are budgeting for, say, 200 patients, but at the time you have over 300. What happened? It means the consumption of these medicines and supplies is much faster. If you are crazy, before you have lasted 2 weeks.
Kawempe also, because it's a referral hospital, it constitutes with a big number of mothers that die in the country and even children, because all the difficult cases are referred in, so some, by the time they come here, it's late and they die. So, by identifying Kawempe Hospital, you're actually picking the cream of the service for maternal and child health.
With this challenge, Stanbic Bank, in partnership with ATC Uganda and other stakeholders, under the campaign Every Mother Counts, have donated hospital equipment worth 144 million shillings to not only help in reducing child deaths, but in also improving service delivery.
So part of the program we're doing is how do we work with our healthcare workers here and improve their welfare and improve their working conditions and really lift them up. Because if we don't motivate these people, if we don't stand with them and support them and raise them and praise that they truly deserve, not only are we cheating them and shortchanging them, but we are also, it's not a good outcome. The better they are, the better the outcomes that come out of that.
While addressing the hospital administration, Dr. Diana Twine, the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Health, appealed for the maternal services to be offered at a free cost.
I would be so happy, Dr. Katsini, that when mothers come here, they are not charged. We have freely been given. We must freely give. We must freely give. We must freely give. Because I'm telling you, by the time a woman comes here, she knows there is Nakasero, she knows there is IHK, she knows there is Kampala International. She knows. But she comes here, why? Because she doesn't have money.
1 out of 49 women in Uganda die of maternal complications related to childbirth or pregnancy. Charlotte Ambuge and Robin Yoso for UBC News.
In other news tonight, 52 refugees have been awarded scholarships at Makerere University in different programs for the year 2020-2021, courtesy of MasterCard Foundation. Now, the award ceremony, Makerere University Vice-Chancellor Professor Nawangwe appealed to the beneficiaries of the scholarships to focus on and aim at achieving their goals, as these details share with us.
In the past 7 years of MasterCard Foundation, more than 1,032 students have benefited from that scholarship. However, 76% are females and 24% are males who often successfully complete their studies at Makerere University. Today, 52 refugees have been awarded with scholarships to Makerere University through MasterCard Foundation. It's at the awarding ceremony that the Vice-Chancellor Makerere University, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, challenged the scholars and beneficiaries of MasterCard scholarships to be persistent, resilient and hardworking if they want to yield fruitful results.
You will be a leader at every stage. Be honest, but don't be tempted by bad examples.
We have met brilliant younger women and men who we are certain will go on to change lives for their generations and those after them. Please exemplify the ideals of the program and ensure that they are reflected in your personal but also collective lives.
Nawangwe told beneficiaries that transparency is a cardinal principle at the university, but he cautioned the scholars to refrain from taking part in university demonstrations and chaos as remedies of solving loopholes within the management and running of the university, but rather be leaders and entrepreneurs that the country needs.
Study hard, be good leaders, participate in the politics of the university, peaceful politics, I must emphasize. Don't be caught in riots, because any riot brought to me is usually asked to go home. Because that's not the future leaders we want for our country.
The coordinator, MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program at Makerere University, Dr. Justin Namalwa, says only 211 graduates have been fully flagged off since the existence of the foundation, and they have been able to give back to society as expected.
We have 211 graduates out there in the world of work. They're focused because the first criteria to get here is academic excellence. So focus on your studies, and later you can contest for the scholarship. So you leave this place as a wholesome individual. You have access to computer, including ICT training, specialized.
Shaidat Nasaku, UBC News.
Fellow Ugandans, you know that the current COVID-19 period is a trying time in our lives. However, we still have another threat that has been with us for a long time, and it is called neglected tropical diseases, also known as NTDs. NTDs include bilharzia and worms that cause swollen stomachs. Trachoma causes blindness, and elephantiasis causes the swelling of legs. These diseases are affecting millions globally, and yet they can be prevented by regular hand washing with soap and clean running water, regular washing of the face with a soap and clean running water, keeping dirty hands away from your eyes, always using pit latrines, and discouraging open defecation in your community to avoid flies that carry germs, reporting to the health facility early when feeling unwell. Remember to stay safe and protect yourself. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from a SEN project.
This March, in commemoration of the Uganda Water and Environment Week 2021, we deliberate on the value of water and environment resources in transforming our economy and livelihoods through a 371-kilometer walk. From Kampala through Mpigi, Mityana, Mubende, Chegegwa, Chenjojo, Fort Portal, to the riverbanks of River Nyamwamba in Kasese, we walk for water. We walk for the environment. We walk for climate change. We walk for public health. We walk for socio-economic transformation. The Uganda Water and Environment Week Walk is proudly sponsored by
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Welcome back. It's still the news tonight. Now, the construction works of MPONDWE one-stop border post and export zone market have officially commenced. The project construction launched at the Uganda-DRC border by the Trade Minister Amelia Chambade and General Katumba Wamala, the Works and Transport Minister, is aimed at unleashing Uganda's exports potential by eliminating restrictions in the strategic transactions and logistical services. Dennis Igwa with the report.
The project, with an 18-month completion timeframe, is funded to a tune of 12.5 billion shillings by the World Bank. When fully operational, the MPONDWE one-stop border post and ultra-modern border export zone is expected to increase capacity for commerce and reduce costs faced by the traders, especially small-scale and women traders, at the targeted locations in the borderlands.
Apparently the outcome would be to reduce poverty, to increase export earnings, value addition of our products, so that we don't suffer markets, don't suffer the same fate like we had suffered with our neighbors like maize, but that one has been sorted. Employment, but also
the Democratic Republic of Congo has in the recent years risen to become one of the biggest regional and international trade partners of Uganda, with exports to the country surpassing $580 million in 2020.
That means that it's now going to be one of our biggest trade destinations. And the fact that Ministry of Works has a project of working on the infrastructure in DRC justifies that.
With improved infrastructure and streamlined border clearance processes, the trade volumes are expected to increase exponentially.
But particularly speaking on the small-scale traders, most of our people who are exporting goods to DRC, exports don't attract any tax except a few, and that is hides and skins and fish.
As the market and border post construction works officially commence, the contractor was cautioned against poor work ethic and unnecessary delays.
I wish to urge the contractor and the consultant and technical team from both ministries to ensure that the construction is done to the desired quality within the expected time frame.
Residents at the border town have hailed the project and expressed optimism of an organized and better working environment, which will translate into increased earnings.
The
new market will help me a lot. We have been carrying our merchandise from the market every evening, but with the new stores, that will be history. We are also assured of safety. I can see the new developments, and that is the way to go if our border and the country is to prosper.
Facilitating trade in both goods and services requires a holistic approach, targeted investments in infrastructure, policy reforms, and capacity building.
One of our headline stories now, the debate on whether the under-17 and under-20 football players who missed their exams while on national duty has been settled. Government, through the Ministry of Education, together with UNEB, has declared that there will be no special consideration for the same.
Uganda national football players who missed the USC examinations while on national duty in the CHAN under-20 football tournament will have to wait for another year after authorities disclose that there will be no special consideration on the same. Social media craze requesting UNEB to have a special consideration for players who missed exams while on national duty continues. The Minister for Sports, Hamson Obua, highlighted how parents and schools of the same players signed consent forms choosing to travel for the tournament ahead of national exams.
The parents of our young Ugandans who are below the age of 18 had to consent in writing with the Federation of Uganda Football Association, which I do believe is part and parcel of the guiding principles set in place by the Confederation of African Football. In the instant case of Uganda, this was a question of making choices. In the case of Uganda, this was a question of opportunity cost. In the question of Uganda, this was a question of scale of preference.
It also applies to the national under-17 football team players who equally missed exams but had the tournament cancelled. Obua highlighted that the same scenario has ever happened, not only with footballers but also athletes, and it is an issue of opportunity cost.
I personally took the initiative to talk on phone with 4 or 5 parents of the affected children and guardians, and they made it in very, very clear terms that they made choices for their children to participate in this tournament in consultation with their families, in consultation with the schools. Only one parent, one baby cool, recommended that in future, government of Uganda should consider amending the UNEB Act to create special exams for such categories of people who, at the time of doing exams, are engaged.
Well, as the under-20 national football team was returning, their under-17 counterparts who had travelled to Morocco for the under-17 AFCON tournament received news of tournament cancellation. According to the minister, this was double jeopardy to some, missing on the exams as well as having the tournament cancelled. Government, however, hailed the under-20 team, reaching the under-20 AFCON finals, though losing to Ghana 2-0. It is to be remembered that UNEB only gave special consideration to students who missed exams due to effects of the war.
A few rainy nights in northern Uganda, but I'll let Molen Kenyana do the rest of the explanations. Molen, it's now over to you.
Yes, very sunny, hot and dry conditions continue to prevail across much of the country, and it seems to be the big story that everyone is talking about. But I will tell you this, we do expect numbers to go up as well, even for tomorrow, but we shall see that in our forecast, which will come in just a bit. First, let's take a look at our satellite analysis. We can see that most of the rain-bearing clouds have moved further away from our country, and that has caused a reduction in wet weather activities throughout most areas. We also still have those dry winds coming in from north of our continent towards the country, and because of that we continue to see mostly dry conditions across the country. Now, Saturday morning we expect mostly intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. We will have mostly a mix of clouds and sun, and that will be across much of the country, really worth out of the door. Later in the afternoon we're likely to maintain similar conditions across much of the country. We'll see much sunshine across most areas within the country, although we expect to have some rains, but those will be scattered across the parts of the Lake Victoria Basin. At daytime highs, we're expecting temperatures to go up across northern Uganda. We'll see a maximum of 34 degrees, very hot weather, and even hotter than that for the Karamoja region. We'll see numbers going up to 35 degrees. We're expecting a maximum of 30, that will be across Kampala, and Kabale Highlands. We do expect temperatures to go up to 26 degrees. Some of the world cities we have for you, we are forecasting a sunny day across New Delhi, New York as well as Hong Kong, and sunny intervals are forecast for New York. London, we do expect those rainy conditions. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's weather report. My name is Molen Kenyana. Thank you very much for keeping us company. I wish you a blessed weekend.